Hello children, we are discussing the concept heredity and evolution, and we discussed that genes are responsible for governing the characters, but how the sex of a newborn individual determined. So if you see, different species use very different strategies for this. In some animals like turtles and crocodiles, the temperature at which fertilized eggs are kept determines whether the animals develop in the eggs will be a male or female. In other animals, such as snails, individuals can change sex, indicating that sex is not genetically determined. However, in human beings, the sex of the individual is largely genetically determined. So now we will see how the sex of the baby will be determined in the human beings. So the sex determination in human beings we will see. We have 23 pairs of chromosomes. That means we have 46 chromosomes. And these chromosomes are divided into two types. They are autosomes and allosomes. Autosomes we have 22 pairs, which indicates the structural appearance, that means which indicates the vegetative parts. And here, that's why they are also called as somatic chromosomes. We have 22 pairs. And the other pair is the allosomes. They are also called as sex chromosomes. And here, these we have two types of chromosomes, that is X chromosome and Y chromosome. If you see, this X chromosome, the structure is normal, the chromosomal structure is normal, and in females we are finding two X chromosomes. But whereas in males we are finding one X chromosome and one Y chromosome, which are dissimilar in structure, because X chromosome is normal in structure, but whereas the Y chromosome is short. That means males have dissimilar chromosomes. One is X and one is Y. Whereas females have similar chromosomes and both are of the same type, that is X. Whereas these autosomes, these 22 pairs of chromosomes are morphologically similar in both males and females of the species. That means there is no difference in the autosomes. But in allosomes, we find a difference in the chromosomes. We are finding two different chromosomes, X chromosome and Y chromosome. So the females have two X chromosomes, whereas males have one X and one Y chromosome. Then who determines the sex of the baby? That we will find out now. Suppose see, father, as we have 46 chromosomes, 44 are autosomes and one pair is allosomes, that is sex chromosomes. The father has one X and one Y chromosome, whereas mother we will see. Out of 46, 44 are autosomes and two X chromosomes are sex chromosomes. And here, during gamete formation we already discussed that only half of the chromosomes will enter in the gametes. So that's why out of 42, 22 autosomes, and in these X and Y, 50% of the gametes, that means 50% of the sperms will receive the X chromosome and the other 50% of the sperms will receive the Y chromosome. So 22 out of these 42, they receive only, that means 22, and this is common in both the sperms. But whereas 50% of sperms are receiving X chromosome and 50% of sperms are receiving Y chromosome. And we observe in the females, that is here in the females 44 chromosomes and 2 X chromosomes. That's why here all the ovum will have the same composition. That means we will have 22 autosomes and 1 X chromosome. So all the ovum will be like that. And now we will see during the fertilization, what are the possibilities will occur. If you see, if the sperm which is carrying the X chromosome, those sperms are called as gynosperms, because gyno means female, it is carrying a female representing chromosome. That's why here these sperms are called as gynosperms, and here these are androsperms. Andro is male related. So as Y represents the male character, we call these sperms as androsperms. If gynosperms will combine with the ovum, because all the female ovum will represent only X chromosome. That means they will provide only X chromosome to the ovum. And here 44, that means 22 autosomes from the sperm and 22 autosomes from the ovum, both combined and form 44. And here X from the father and X the representing young one is a boy because of having X and Y chromosomes. Here same, 22 from father and 22 from mother, and X from the father and X from the mother. Then the baby represents girl. And here 44, 22 from father and 22 from mother, and X is from the mother and Y is from the father. As here two dissimilar chromosomes are there, the baby is boy. So here who determines the sex of the baby? Here if you observe here, male determines our father. That means the sex is determined by the chromosomes received, by the sex chromosomes received from the father. If the father inherit X chromosome, then the baby will be girl. If the father inherit Y chromosome, then the baby will be a boy. So like that, the sex is determined in the human beings by the father, not by the mother. Okay. Now we will see now we will discuss the concept evolution. What is meant by evolution? It is the study of origin of life and gradual descent of species. It deals with the gradual changes that occur in the living organisms through geological time. That means formation of new species. How the new species is formed? If you see, we already studied about the variations. That means differences in the individuals of the same species. Here, these variations accumulate, and in due course of time, this results in the formation of a new species. So like that, on the earth new species are originated, and this we study under the evolution. So we are telling that variations are responsible for evolution. What are the reasons for variations? We already discussed that sexual reproduction and errors in DNA copying. That means if any change in the DNA sequence, that results in the variations. And how these variations are leading to the evolution, we will see with some examples. First we will consider variations in beetle population. Here we have taken three situations, and in the first situation, we are discussing the first situation. That means here let us consider 12 beetle population, and here these are red in color and they are living in the green bushes. But because they are red in color, they can easily identified by the crows, because crows they eat the beetle. And here when they are easily identified because they are living in the green bushes which they can easily see, and the crows are eating the red beetle, and slowly the red beetle population is decreasing. But because of the changes in the DNA, we already discussed, sometimes variations may occur. In such a condition, in this red beetle, suddenly a green population, a green beetle is arised because of the variations, and that green beetle can continue its progeny with the green color. So slowly like that, the green population is increasing. And one more also, that is the green beetle, they have this change as their survival advantage. Why? Because they are living in the green bushes, so that they can escape from the crows, because their body color is matching with the color of the leaves. So that's why they cannot be easily identified by the crows. So that's why they are getting escape from the crows. That means here this variation is created some survival advantage for the beetles, so that they can escape from the predators, that is from the crows. So here such variation leads to the increase in the population. So day by day if you are seeing, the red beetle population is decreasing, because as they are identified by the crows and they are eaten by the crows. Whereas the green beetle, they can escape in the green bushes and their population is slowly increasing. That means this leads to the adaptations. That means this green beetle, as the variation is given survival advantages to that green beetle. So that's why it can able to escape, and slowly its population is increasing. That means here the green color is selected by the nature. So such adaptation is called as natural selection, and here in this natural selection, in this case, crows are playing a major role. That means these beetle are selected by the nature. That means they can be escapable from the crows. So in situation 1, natural selection is directing evolution in the beetle population. Now we'll consider another example. In situation 2, the red beetle are there and they are increasing their population by the reproduction, and suddenly because of this variation a blue color beetle is arised in that population. And is this blue color is giving any survival advantages for that beetle? No, because blue color is also easily identified by the crows. So that's why here there is no survival advantage because of this variation to the green beetle, to the blue beetle. So here crows can easily identify the red beetle as well the green beetle. So that's why both the populations are simultaneously growing. But suddenly because of some accidents, for example, an elephant is there, it is going on the way through the bushes and suddenly it stamped on a bush where more number of red beetle are surviving. In such a case, the red beetle are dead because of this elephant. When the elephant is stamped on the bushes where more number of red beetle are surviving, and here the red beetle population is decreased, and where the blue beetle population they are surviving somewhere else and they are slowly growing their population by the reproduction process. So here also the blue beetle population is increasing compared to the red beetle. But here is this by natural selection? No, it is not by the natural selection, because the blue color is not providing any advantage, any natural advantages to that. Then, but how it is surviving compared to the red beetle means here accidents in some populations, in small populations. Why small populations? Suppose if the red beetle are survived at many places and if it is in large population, if the red beetle population is in large, then the elephant may not create major havoc, then the red beetle population may not be disturbed. But here this is a small population. This happens in the small population because the elephant is created major damage to that red population because they are not more in number. That is very in a small population. So accidents in small populations can change frequency of some genes in a population. So because of that accidents, the red producing gene is slowly disappeared from that area and the blue beetle are slowly increasing their population. And what we call that process, that is genetic drift. Genetic drift means small change in the frequency of gene. A small change in the frequency of a gene in the small populations is called as genetic drift. That means in the second case, because of the accidents, that means this is the notion of genetic drift which provide diversity. That means red beetle we are seeing in the before, but later we are observing the blue beetle more. That means provide diversity without any adaptations. This is not giving any survival advantage. But because of the small accidents, here the new species, that means the new colored beetle are surviving in the nature. This is the second situation. Now we will see the third situation. And this we discussed that these beetle are surviving in some bushes. Suddenly a plant disease is the bushes are affected by some plant diseases, and the leaves are highly affected, and the food for the beetle is reduced because mostly the beetle are sucking the plant juices. If the leaves are not there means the plant will not provide any and will not prepare any food material. So like that the beetle population, the red beetle population is slowly the weight of the beetle they are losing slowly because here they are not getting proper food. That's why the weight of the beetle is slowly they are losing and the beetle became lean. In such a case, the young ones formed by the beetle will be produced like the lean only? No, because this change is not occurred in the DNA. This is because of the environment. Here the environment is not providing proper food for the beetle. So that's why the people are not getting enough food. That's why they are starving. That's why they lose their body weight. Suppose if after some days, if the plants are eliminated, that the plant disease is eliminated from that area, then again the plants will grow better and also these beetles will get the proper food and also they will gain their weight. That means this is a temporary change only. This change is not because of the change in their DNA. This is because of the surroundings. So such a change will not be transferred to the next generation. So that is the situation 3. Change in the non-reproductive tissues cannot be passed on to its progeny. After some seasons, again the beetle will grow better, and also they will undergo reproduction, and they will produce the egg ones which are normal. So like that, these are the 3 situations which relating to the adaptations to the nature. So this tells that some extent of the evolution. So now in the next class we will see the theories of evolution put forth by some of the scientists. Okay, thank you.